and thank you for joining us. I'm Megan Waters with Armstrong Neighborhood Channel, and we're here again today to talk about the Small Business Jumpstart Program. We have our guests here today. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Melissa Kebert from Glories Cafe and also Grace Unlimited Foundation Center.
I'm Gary Spetz, Spetz Consulting Services, LLC. I'm also the Small Business Jumpstart Coordinator and Facilitator of the program.
Fantastic. So we're glad to be back today to talk about another business that has successfully completed Gary's program with the Jump Start. And so I know you are an entrepreneur and you love helping people. So you've kind of married those pieces together for this latest venture. So tell us a little bit about the cafe.
So the last year I had owned another restaurant, JT Steam Table, and I had the giving tree there, which our guests would come in, buy a leaf, put it on the tree, and people in need would be able to come in and get a free meal. So, owning that place for over 5 years, I was really seeing the need of people that were homeless, the mental health aspect, addiction, you name it, I was seeing it. So I spent the last year of when I was owning JT's to go back to school. I became a certified recovery specialist and also went through trauma-informed training. And then I got with Jackie Robinson, who is director here at the FCCA. And we really thought that having a trauma-informed and the cafe would be ideal. A lot of the things that we believe in are very much aligned. And so that's how this concept came about. And I just absolutely love it here. Being so close to CHAPS as well. A lot of our people that come in are from CHAPS. We feed people in need from 2 to 4, Monday through Friday. And I know a lot of people have said that maybe possibly that it's a duplication of services, but I don't believe that's the case. First of all, we are a little bit closer to dinner time compared to what the soup kitchen is. And also I'm able to help them with mental health needs, if they're dealing with addiction and all those kind of things. Mm-hmm. I'm able to help them and counsel them and get them to where they need to be on top of being a chef and a caterer.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
I meshed everything together and here I am.
That's great. And, if there's a need, you're there to respond to that. You're talking about other services that are available, whether that's through other organizations and entities or here at the FCCA, as you mentioned, there's so many great projects and services that they offer that you can kind of work hand in hand with. So
absolutely.
That's terrific that you've landed in a new home that really supports what you're doing here, embraces it, and helps you grow that audience.
You've always been around food.
Yeah,
You've always providing food and
35
community.
Years, I've been a chef.
Okay.
And to me, food is love. I cannot stand for anybody to go hungry. I'm actually in recovery. I've been homeless. I've been hungry. And to me, that's just not acceptable for people to go hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Take us on that food tour. Your history of food in your restaurants, all those things. Because that was a big part of you in our program when you first had your Java Tree restaurant, mm-hmm. and then you went from there.
So I've been cooking actually since I was 5 years old. With my great grandma on our old coal stove in Steubenville, Ohio. So, and then my grandmother was a wonderful cook, and I remember sitting up at the countertop with her. And food just, I don't know, was so important to our family dinner. And also, Grandpa was really great with saying a half an hour before dinner, oh, by the way, I'm bringing guests. And Grandma was like, ah. And, and she could pull it together and just really make a great meal. And so I had, my first job was with Al's Melons, working in their vegetable fields and their greenhouses. I was 11 years old. And it really taught me the back end of things as far as gardening and a fresh to table and those kind of things.
Sure.
And I went on to working in many different aspects of the restaurant throughout here, Florida, and in the Sharon area. And worked at Peel Mansion as well in hospitality, which was a big learning experience for me. Very highly rated bed and breakfast and Sharon. And I came back here and I actually dealt with some domestic abuse and my alcoholism, and ended up in the greenhouse here. And came through with meeting a wonderful person, Rose Hillard from Women's Services, and still didn't tackle the alcoholism then. And I ended up, I just celebrated 8 years of sobriety.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And had just gotten out of rehab probably 11 months. And the the space where my restaurant was came up for sale. And I was actually going to school to be a counselor, but something drew me to this place. And so talked my husband and the whole rest of the family into it, and to buy this place. I suggest not buying a restaurant in your first year of sobriety. That's all I have to say.
Challenges.
Very challenging. And then to have COVID hit,
Yes.
that's a whole other, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how the Java Tree came about. And we were making our own coffee and all of those kind of things. And COVID hit.
Yeah.
And we had to pivot. That's what Jumpstart was. One of the things that Jumpstart taught me and Gary. You have to adapt and pivot.
Sure.
Something doesn't work, go, try the next best thing. And that's what we did. We went from being a coffee shop to a full-fledged catering restaurant with a jewelry store. We had our own jewelry line, and flag, and taught myself how to make soap, candles, and
A little bit of everything.
a little bit of everything.
Little gift shop.
It was
little,
gift shop, yeah.
Great gathering space. I think that's something, you mentioned the giving tree and just a great community aspect. And I think that's something that you brought here as well. You mentioned Rose and some other names. You've really created that community and that network around you. And you're sharing that with the people that you're serving now. So that's, you are now part of that network for other folks. So that's terrific. It is.
It's all
together.
I did a fundraiser here a few years back for St. James Haven. And at that time, Rose was still on the board.
Yeah.
And also for, my mind's going blank, but John Harnett. For it was going to be a Hayden House. And so, Rose and I had talked about how it had just came full circle.
Yeah.
About how, I'm there in the women's shelter, everything was just a mess for me. And clearly was for quite a while after that. And, and now we are in the same circles and we work together with different projects.
Absolutely.
She runs one of my Morning Glories trauma support group on Mondays here.
Nice.
So 4:30 to 5:30.
Well,
So-
and you mentioned being Grandma's Kitchen and all of that. You and I have talked about using what you have, being willing to adapt, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I know you've made great use of that as well with community donations and support. You're supplying all these lunches to folks, and you're happy to take what is given and share that in a way that's delicious, it's desirable, it's nutritious, it's all these wonderful things. And you, when I was here dropping off food, Armstrong's Breaking Bread program has recently made another donation to the cafe in support of these lunches that you're creating. And again, I've mentioned that we are very fortunate to receive donations from the community that we can pass along, but we never know what that's going to be in terms of what types of food items. And so we brought some boxes here the other day, and you always accept those with a big smile, and I know that you will make something wonderful with the kind of random collection that comes in those boxes.
I have so many different things, and there are days that, they get raviolis out of a can.
Sure.
But then they get a salad and fruit, and it's
So,
with
you're
it.
very resourceful.
Yes.
I am. I'm resourceful. And again, always adapting, I do want to mention that, we're self-sustaining here. Meaning, my catering pays for things, or we get donations from, Breaking Bread, individual. I have a GoFundMe on Facebook as well for people, because I don't want to give them just slop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's that chef in me.
Didn't make it
The
right.
food is love. We're back to that. That, they've had spare ribs, because people have donated gift cards from Walmart.
Sure.
And I want, I'll even ask them what some of their favorite foods are. And I make it happen.
And I think that recognition, just that acknowledgement, what's their favorite food, and that support and dignity that you're providing through food. Like you said, it's a quality, delicious meal, and they are sharing it with members of their community with love from someone that prepared it for them. So, all in all, I think that's a really fantastic whole person support that you're providing.
Absolutely. They're not just a number to me. When you really sit down and talk to them and hear some of their stories, it's heartbreaking with a lot of them. And I can sit and share with them what I've went through, and there's no judgment. I get it. I get where they're coming from, and maybe I can send them in a direction that they didn't even know that they needed.
Sure. Food's a great way to bring some barriers down.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
A little
And it
chat
doesn't-
over some dinner.
It doesn't help that I'm a pretty awesome cook.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
But I think you're even better at bringing community here and making it a welcome place.
That's what everybody has always talked about, the vibes that I bring with me.
You're everyone's friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
So, I don't really have a mean bone in my body. And kindness is free. And it doesn't take a whole lot to be kind. And it goes so far.
Absolutely.
Kindness and grace.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up coming up with, we're almost to the point of having our 501c3 for the Grace Unlimited.
Okay.
And that's how I came up with that name, with Grace Unlimited, was because when I went to the women's shelter and to going into rehab, the grace that people showed me was everything to me. I wasn't a number. I wasn't, they showed me grace and I was a person. So, and that's where I came up with that. And then Morning Glories ties right in with that. Not only was my grandfather's favorite flower, and I would sit on the porch with him, and we'd pick off the old morning, flowers. But also Morning Glories started new every day with
Fresh start.
sunshine. And, that's always the way you have to look at every single day, is the start of a new. Yesterday was yesterday. If you had a bad day yesterday, today is a different day. Let's start anew.
Yep.
And you've got a beautiful garden outside now.
I do, thanks to you, partly.
Well, we worked together, but you made it happen, so.
Yeah, well,
Herbs, and you use a lot of that in your cooking, and it's
I
a
do.
beautiful entranceway to the cafe.
we have herbs going with our, because I teach a cooking class on Wednesday as well, Culinary Academy, and was teaching some of the people to what you can plant in the same pots, like basil and tomato go well, in the same containers. You would not want to put cucumbers in with tomatoes. They don't like each other.
Okay.
Some people don't get along. Yeah.
They don't get along. And so, but, as we were talking about before the interview here, my tomatoes understood the assignment. They're about this tall. No lie. So, but,
Well, you talked a little bit about not just the cafe, but the other services, the classes and things that you're offering to the community.
So we have the Morning Glories Trauma Support Group. Like I said, it's Monday 4:30 to 5:30. Then we have the culinary cooking class. It's Wednesdays 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we also have Women Supporting Women on Tuesdays 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Fantastic.
And we have the Suicide Survivors Support Group. That's with Rose Hillard the first Tuesday of every month.
Was it?
Will be today. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Great.
And so we have like the supportive services, on-site counselors and social workers. Rose is here some. I am Wanda, who's one of the pastors. She's been in social work. So
if someone's looking for more information, is it best to stop in or to give you a call?
stop in. We have a website. It's www.graceunlimitedfoundation.com. You can also give me a call to my own personal cell phone. It's 814-795-4452.
Perfect.
And if I don't answer a lot because I'm very busy, but leave a message and I'll get back to you.
Great.
So
This is a great location, easily walkable from anywhere downtown.
Absolutely.
In terms of public transit, you're easily accessible. And a very welcoming crew when folks come in, whether they're coming directly into the cafe or through the front doors here. So it's an easy place for someone to find and to find an ear and a meal and all of the things that you offer here.
Absolutely. I want to pivot back to the Jumpstart program with Gary. I don't even remember. How I became part of it? Was it because of the chamber?
Part of that was through the chamber and some of our conversation.
Okay.
And I knew your husband somewhat.
Yeah.
Through his brother. And so we chatted. And I remember you both told me, well, one of us might show up. I said, okay, anytime, just whatever works for you. And I think all through our 9 sessions, both of you were there
Every
session.
single one.
So,
Yeah.
and then you became one of our caterers for the program.
Yeah.
Future programs. Of course, food's always good.
Way to undercommit and then over-deliver there.
Yeah.
And, we might show up.
Yeah.
That's good, though.
Well, he caught my attention on so many different things. Gary has a really great way of teaching. A little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of truth.
Dry.
Yeah. Make the point and let it marinate a little bit. Yeah.
I'm a little stubborn.
Well, in a nice way. Yes, you are. Yeah, but in a good way.
So, at that point, I'm like, what am I going to learn? I've been in this business for so long. Oh, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
I didn't know as much as I thought I did. Not even.
But you put it to use.
I did.
And one of the
really
things
did.
about business, you have a social mission. So the business kind of was there, but everything that business is driving you to helping others
It is.
and making that possible to kind of bring that social passion of yours to help people. So I think it was a tool for you.
Really, truly it is. It was never about the money for the restaurant. It was always because I knew I could give back.
Yeah.
Really, truly. It was just being able, again, so people don't die hungry.
Well, and imagine the people that you're helping every day I mean, we don't know what it looks like for them in the future. They could be the next generation of helping someone else. So,
Absolutely.
you know, when you've received that grace, as you mentioned, that enables you to step up and share that with someone else.
Yeah, share the grace, share, you know, again, the kindness.
You're paying for a lot of the things that you had received
Yeah.
in 10 times.
Going to, you know, it's very clear, kind of ironic, when I had no intentions of going to rehab. And I was a daily drinker of a lot. And my son struggled as well. I was junked as I'm trying to get him into another rehab. And I tell my husband, I tell him, you know, what's going on, and he just broke down and started sobbing. And he's like, I'm so afraid I'm going to wake up and you're not. And I'm like, whoa. And, you know, and that was June 8th, 2017, and him and my son were taking me to rehab June 10th to St. Joseph's, which is over by State College. And my son went to a different one the next day. And by the way, he also has 8 years of clean and sobriety.
That's wonderful.
So we kind of walked that path together.
Yeah.
And, you know, so when I walked through those gates, leaving everybody behind, and I was so scared, and I'm like, I can't do this, but I have to. I said I would never lie to myself or lie to anybody else, and I've kept that promise. And, you know, I got the chance last September to go speak there, be a speaker. And walking through the gates as a totally different person was like so humbling. And then for people turning around, they, you know, were asking me how they could find me and this and that and the other for when they get out after speaking. Again, humbling. Because same rehab that helped me, I was able to go back and get back. And so it's always about giving back, kindness and grace.
Well, that's wonderful. I think I've mentioned this before, so blessed and lucky to have you in our community and the people that you surround yourself with. I know we've talked about in this building, there is a lot of heart, a lot of community.
We're a family here.
Yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities to lift folks up. So we're glad that you've landed here, that you didn't go far. You know, we just right up the street. Yep, you haven't gone far. So, and you know, it sounds like you're just further cementing yourself in this realm that you've entered of marrying the cooking and the care for our community together.
Absolutely. And I do want to mention too, we are open to the public from 11 to 2. Now we're taking a little bit of hiatus right now because there's some funding issues and stuff going on. We all know what's going on with federal and state. There's no budgets right at this moment. So it's a little difficult for all of us ones that are sort of in the nonprofit realm. So, but you can keep track of us on Facebook, and I try to keep it updated as much as possible.
Great.
So,
And again, if you're interested in giving back to the cafe, whether you have a monetary or food donation, or if you'd like to volunteer some time, I'm sure the folks here would love to acquaint you with the cafe and with the folks here that enjoy the wonderful lunches every day. So I hope that you will stay tuned and visit the information that we have here at the end so that you can follow up with Melissa and her crew, and also so that you can get in touch with Gary if you're interested with your business, your new business, or maybe you just have a business idea that you're getting ready to send off into the world.
We have a fall program.
Yes,
September
fantastic.
10th, and you can
September 10th.
register directly with us, and that information will be in our program as well.
Great. Yep. How many years are we on, dear?
21 years.
21
Yeah.
years. Wow.
Not in Meadville totally, but in Venango County, and we've
Yeah.
done some in Erie, so, but the
And-
whole program.
2 classes a year. That's a lot of entrepreneurs you've been
That's a lot of work.
cranking through there. Yeah.
It's satisfying, and we just hit our over 900 participants
Wow.
That's awesome.
with an 87% success rate, which is more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've interviewed a good variety of folks, and we'll
sure.
continue doing that moving forward. So it's an interesting way to network and meet new people, whether in your industry or another one. So it's always fun to sit down and learn a little bit more about what's happening right here in our community. That
We have more
don't even know about.
nonprofits that go through our program because they have to run it well.
Well, you do.
And
It's
it's
a
a
same
challenge well. Yeah. Funding and all those things.
You know, working a regular business and a nonprofit really is very different. You know, it has to be ran with a tight ship and, you know, dot your I's, cross your T's. You know, there's taxes and all of those other fun things that are all part of both things. So,
Yes, sometimes the numbers are, at least in my world, a necessary evil, because I would rather do the community end of things than the other side. But as you said, kind of a necessary balance in order to be successful.
yeah, because, well, the hubby used to do all those things with the other one.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I have to do it all.
Yes.
So, but, so that's been a learning experience.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that there's a resource out there that you can lean on when you need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for having
Fantastic.
us in your home.
Yes. Again, please reach out if you have any questions about the cafe or about the Jumpstart program, and we hope to see you again soon.